It's Lee TV for Monday, December the 10th, 2018. Canadians, I want to bring this to your attention, and it is Parliament looking for input on the Copyright Act. Today is the last day, so if you're seeing this on December 10th, then please send an email to our legislators. After that, well, you'll just have to watch this unfold. Let's look at this. A music tax on every smartphone. A tax on internet use, over 15 gigabytes a month. Website blocking for big business. Mandatory content filters for all user-generated content. That is not good. So I got this update from Open Media, and Open Media testified to the Standing Committee on Industry, Science and Technology on October 29th. So that is online and available for anyone to look at. But the thing that they had the biggest problem with is Bell Canada's Fair Play proposal. So you always have to watch what the wording is, because just because it says it's fair play does not mean that it's really about fairness. Because what their proposal would do is inevitably censor legitimate content and speech online and violate net neutrality protections, all without court oversight. And it would set a dangerous precedent for other censorship proposals in the future. One of the community members for Open Media had said this, and they found it worthy to share with the committee. Arbitrarily allowing website blocking and website takedowns will result in a severe reduction of civil rights and political freedoms, as companies and organizations can decide to remove websites that they don't like, regardless if any terms were violated. We have a strong legal system where the accused is deemed innocent until proven guilty. Let the courts handle the matters, since they are subject to public scrutiny and inquiry by law. Additional dangerous proposals are making their way to Canada in light of the EU's proposed copyright directive. These are the link tax and mandatory content filtering algorithms. Oh boy. The link tax would copyright the snippets of text that usually accompany links, often used as previews to help internet users find content online. Requiring aggregators to pay for content just to be able to promote it actually harms content creators by reducing the discoverability of their content. But it also enriches the largest content aggregators, such as Facebook and Google, by making the costs for new entrants even higher. This proposal has already been implemented and proven a failure in both Germany and Spain. Content filtering requirements would turn online platforms into the copyright police, forcing online platforms to implement mechanisms to identify and block materials believed to infringe copyright before being posted, similar to YouTube's multi-million-dollar content ID system, won't come cheap. And, as we know, still result in false positives and inevitably result in the takedown of legitimate content. What we have right now, in many respects, is fine. Canada's notice system is a fair regime for addressing alleged content infringements. However, the government should provide content guidelines for notices that prevent threats or demands for settlements. Take a little look at what Europe has had in mind. This is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. So in September, the EU passed legislation, Article 13, the copyright filters. All but the smallest platforms will have to defensively adopt copyright filters that examine everything you post and censor anything judged to be a copyright infringement. Article 11 says that linking to the news using more than one word from the article is prohibited unless you're using a service that bought a license from the news site you want to link to. News sites can charge anything they want for the right to quote them or refuse to sell altogether, effectively giving them the right to choose who can criticize them. Member states are permitted, but not required, to create exceptions and limitations to reduce the harm done by this new right. And Article 12A, get this, no posting your own photos or videos of sports matches. Only the organizers of sports matches will have the right to publicly post any kind of record of the match. No posting your selfies or short videos of exciting plays. You're the audience. Your job is to sit where you're told, passively watch the game, and go home. And at the same time, the EU rejected even the most modest proposals to make copyright suited to the 21st century. So, probably the most important one of these, well, first of all, if you capture anything that's copyrighted in a picture, someone's got a logo somewhere in the picture, well, you could, you just couldn't have that picture posted. It would make, the EU rejected a proposal that would make it legal Europe-wide to photograph street scenes without worrying about infringing the copyright of objects in the background. So, no protection for that. Number 2, no user-generated content exemption, which would have made EU states carve out an exception to copyright for using excerpts from works for criticism, review, illustration, caricature, parody, or pastiche. So, this would have been really helpful, and now it's like there's no explicit fair use in Europe. So they're looking at doing a number of things, and right now, in a subsequent post that this organization did, it talked about these trilogues, and these are closed-door meetings held between representatives from European national governments, the European Commission, and the European Parliament. The language of the directive could be altered. Usually this information doesn't get out, but there's one lady, Julia Reda, the German member of the European Parliament, who has led opposition to Articles 11 and 13. She is on her own publishing anything she can from negotiated documents as they take place. And fortunately, there was a ruling from the European Court that allows her to do that. The trilogues are not held in secret because the negotiators are sure that you'll be delighted with the outcome and don't want to spoil the surprise. They're meetings where well-organized, powerful corporate lobbyist voices are heard and the public is unable to speak. There's a subsequent article that really wonders how this is going to play out. It may be that if the social media giants find it easier, and we know who those are, just to go with the lowest common denominator and do whatever Europe does, because otherwise it gets really tricky. This European legislation could change what goes on the internet pretty much everywhere. Hopefully Canadians will do what they can at this juncture. If you see this today, there's a really good tool with this, letstalkcopyright.ca. Just introduce yourself, say who you are, and then talk about the issues that matter to you. No website blocking. Don't allow this kind of censorship that some people are proposing. Not a copyright tax on internet use and devices. You can add all of that. Many households use more than 15 gigabytes per month. In fact, there's some indication that the average family would use 120 gigs. So this isn't all about piracy like they're trying to claim. Then you can basically click send. So they've made it really easy to weigh in on this. Net neutrality is important, and the chair of the CRTC, we thought that the government was committed to this, and now we're not quite as sure because there were some comments that the chair had made, Ian Scott, to say that the framework that we've built will likely be tested as needs and technology continue to evolve. They're talking about tools and flexibility to establish and enforce net neutrality. It's just a very tricky use of language. That flexibility part may mean some compromise of it. So I hope this issue means enough for you to do something about, and I've told you how. We'll talk to you again.